As we saw in the previous capsule, the dumbbell lateral raise is one of the most butchered exercise, mostly because people turn what is supposed to be an isolation movement into an ego lift. Again, you will see that 140-pound like douchebag with his tank top. Well, by the way, every time you see like a 135, 155-pound guy with a tank top, just walk up to him and say, well, get a shape or get a shirt, right? That's my rant for today. Anyway, so if you see the lateral raise for what it should be, an isolation exercise, then you can adjust the movement depending on what you're trying to accomplish, okay? Depending on which part of the deltoid you want to stimulate, because a deltoid has 7 different innervation points and 3 main sections. So you can put more emphasis on several of these. Now, you can either adjust the position of your arm, so raising here, raising here, raising here, raising here. You can adjust the torso position and you can and adjust your arm position, your shoulder position, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Now, what you want to know first is the muscle fibers that will be the most directly in the line of resistance or the line of pull will receive the most stimulation. So for example, if I'm taking my dumbbell and my arms are like this, then I'm turning external shoulder rotation, so the fibers of the front deltoid become more in line because they are more directly against the line of resistance, which is this way. So if I'm like this, the muscle fibers of the front delt are less active. If I'm here, it's even less active and the posterior and lateral will work more, medial will work more. Now, if I turn more this way, then these fibers will come more into play, which is why when you see people doing lateral raises with the thumb like this, which you often see, well, it will do very little to make the shoulder look wider or give that capped delt look. What you want to do, if you want to focus on making the shoulders look wider, is inhibiting or taking the front portion of the deltoid out of the movement. So either staying perfectly like supinated, like pronated like this, or you go even more into rotation to take these fibers out of the movement. Okay, so that's the first thing you can consider. If I want to focus more on the front portion of my delts, then I will use more of that position here, because these fibers will be more into play and the rear delt portion will be less into play. Now, the second factor would be the hand position, the arm position. The more forward I am, the more front delt I will work. The more backward, the more I will be medial and posterior delt. So if my goal is to make the shoulder look wider, then I want to avoid this position or this position. It's either here or even here, depending on what I want to accomplish. Now, if I want to work the front portion of the deltoid, here or here, and with that position here, remember, if I go here, more interior, here, even more here, because the posterior is taken completely out of the movement. So these are some of the adjustments you can make. Now, you can also adjust the torso position. If I'm going more this way, then I'm putting the rear delt more into action. If I'm going more here, then I'm taking that out, and this will work more. So if you want to maximize shoulder width, you can go here, slight angle, not pronounced, just slight, here. This is the position where the medial delt will work the most. If I want to emphasize more front delt, I go here, shoulder, and slightly back, or with a barbell. This is what gets that muscle part working the hardest. If I want to use a lateral raise to work more posterior while also making the shoulder wider, then I will go bend forward and arm here. You can actually feel the rear delt contracting here, that line of pull. So these are the modifications you can make to hit various portions of the deltoid with a simple movement like a dumbbell lateral raise. Now, if you're doing that movement with too much weight because your ego dictates it, there's no way you can isolate these portions because you will have compensation mechanism. So remember, the lateral raise is a movement that should be done to isolate the muscle, learn to contract that muscle, not to use the biggest weights possible. Only increase the weight if you can maintain that wide angle and feeling the contraction, not swinging and not compensating with the traps.